So I guess, Pranav, I'm sharing the this presenter screen with you,
Uh-huh.
rights with you. So you
Sure.
can now, I think you should be able to share your screen and start off.
Sure. So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. So, essentially, the reason why we have gathered today is to basically try to understand what a small case is. So, if you take a look at the investing landscape that has evolved in the last couple of years, there are traditional ways in which people have been participating in direct equity. For example, if a client were to maybe open a trading and demat account, and if he wanted to participate in the markets, there were limited options available to customers, wherein one of the few options was to directly go and purchase stocks. So this is where we as an organization noticed a gap. So when we generally tend to talk about direct equity, one of the first things that comes to our mind is the risk component of it. Because essentially, when one person is buying one or two set of stocks, it is not exactly a portfolio that he's getting into. And eventually, people do get into ultra short-term trading. People do not have access to portfolios which have been curated by research analysts and so on. So these were general gaps that we noticed from small case. So the idea of small case was born at that time. So what we essentially wanted to do is to create a platform where direct equity portfolios are curated, and these portfolios are curated by SEBI registered managers in India. So what do I mean by SEBI registered managers? So SEBI gives out three types of licenses in India. The first one is called as an RIA license, which is called as Registered Investment Advisor. The second one is called as RA, which is a Research Analyst License. The third one is called as a PMS, which stands for Portfolio Management Services. So basically, any individual or entity which or who have one of these three licenses are able to come onto the platform, go through a certain set of checks and checks that are put in place, and once they are accepted on the platform, they're able to curate direct equity portfolios using their own investment philosophies. So one analyst could be, focusing more towards curating momentum-based strategies because that is where their strength lies. Another analyst could come over and design a portfolio that is based on value investing and so on. So we have approximately 15 strategies listed on the platform. So what Smallcase as a platform is enabling is to allow these analysts to come over on the platform and design or curate their own direct equity baskets. Now, what else is Smallcase doing? So in order to make this process easy for investors to discover these baskets and to start their investment journey, what Smallcase as a platform has enabled is for clients to use their own broking accounts, log into the Smallcase platform, discover the Smallcase and invest in them. So essentially, Smallcase is acting as a platform here where portfolios are being curated. Now, what else do we do from Smallcase? So whenever a portfolio is curated, we make sure that the performance of that particular portfolio starts getting logged onto the platform. So whenever a client comes to the platform, he's not only able to see what the portfolio is, but he's able to understand what is the philosophy that the analyst or the SEBI registered manager has used to curate that particular basket. And additionally, users also get information about how these baskets are functioning, what is the performance of that particular basket, and so on. So once we came live with this particular platform, a lot of users were pretty interested because this was a platform that was offering an option to participate in direct equity, but not via the traditional route, wherein the client goes open account and starts trading. So we were pushing investors more into investing in portfolios or in direct equity portfolios. And when I have to give, or when we talk about small cases in general, what can we define a small case as? So a small case can be thought of as a basket of stocks, which is designed by a SEBI registered manager using a certain philosophy. Now, to talk about how the platform has grown since 2015, 2016, since we became live. So as of today, we are proud to say that we have 50 lakh users on the Smallcase platform. And our broking partners have also played a phenomenal role in pushing the visibility of Smallcase to their customers. So as of today, Smallcase also has broker partners. For example, all the banking brokers like HDFC Securities, and then we have traditional brokers like Motilal Oswal, Edelweiss, IIFL, and we have discount brokers like Zerodha, Paisa, Upstocks, Grow, and so on. So any customer who has a trading and demat account with any of these set of, I would say, brokers are able to log into the platform, discover the small cases, and directly invest in them. We have made the process so seamless that there is no requirement for a client to sign up with small case or to open an account with small case or go through any of those hassles. So without further ado, what I'll be doing is I'll take you through a very quick presentation of what small cases are and what are some of the features. Then what we'll do is directly go to the FundExpert platform and we'll take a look at how small cases have made available there, who are the SEBI registered managers who are present on the platform, and we'll take a look at how a customer's investment journey flows over there. So some of the key things that we'll be discussing today are what are small cases, what are the benefits and advantages to customers. Then we'll talk about what is in it for advisors like yourselves. And then we'll take a look at how the client investment journey works. Now, as I had told you, small cases are portfolios of stocks or ETFs. So we have both stocks and ETFs on the platform, which are weighted intelligently to track a theme, strategy, or objective. Now, moving on, who creates small case baskets? So like I had said, they are curated by SEBI registered professionals. So these SEBI registered professionals belong to three categories. Either they have their RA license, RIA license, or PMS license. Now, before a customer invests in a small case or before a customer wants to invest in a small case, what are the things that the customer has access to? So the first thing is small case as a platform is truly transparent. So here the customers are actually able to see the list of stocks and the sectors that that particular client will be investing in. So the portfolio's constituents, the sector breakup, and the weightage of each particular stock will be predetermined and mentioned on the platform itself. And then most important, the second one, every portfolio after it has gone live on the platform, we will start logging in the performance of that particular portfolio. So the client is basically able to see how this portfolio has performed ever since it became live. So what do I mean by ever since it became live? So let us say we launched a portfolio in 2017, in the year 2017. So from then on, that portfolio's performance starts getting logged. So through different market cycles, it could be bullish markets, it could be bearish markets, it could be normal markets, the portfolio's performance start getting logged. And this gets logged in a graph format. So it is very easy for the user to simply come onto the platform, discover the small case, the performance metrics, the philosophy, and then take a decision of whether the customer wants to invest in that basket or not. So the idea here is to not simply give out a rate for a particular basket. The idea is for the user to be able to see each and everything about that basket. So one more key important thing that I want to mention is that on the platform today, we have absolutely zero performance logs of, I would say, back-tested performance. So the platform only keeps live performance and it does not at any point of time include any sort of back-tested results whatsoever. So the users are able to clearly see how the baskets have performed. Then the third most important thing that we have enabled is something called as rebalancing. Now, what do I mean by this? Generally speaking, when we invest in a basket of stocks or when we invest in a portfolio, the entire portfolio tends to come to our to the customer's own trading and demat account. So the shares go to the customer's DP. Now, once we have invested in a small case, we are not investing in a static portfolio. We are investing in a dynamic portfolio. So over a period of time, as the market condition evolves, as new things come up, maybe stock specific things change, some of the stocks inside the portfolio might no longer look viable after a period of time. So in such cases, we have enabled our small case managers to basically rebalance the portfolio. So when I say rebalancing, what I mean is, let us take an example where there are 10 stocks in a portfolio. Now, let us say a customer has invested in this particular basket. Now, all these 10 stocks have come into his DP. It could be his Kotak Securities account, HDFC Securities account, Zerodha account, whatever. Now, over a period of time, let us say 2 or 3 stocks need to be changed. For example, Adani Enterprises and Infosys is a part of that portfolio, but now no longer looks very promising, or it is not following the philosophy of that particular basket. Now, if it needs to be changed, does the fund manager have the flexibility to do it, or does the advisor have the flexibility to do it? The answer is yes. So, an advisor can initiate something called as rebalancing on the platform. And when it is initiated, customers have the flexibility to approve it and go through that rebalance. So it's almost a fully automated process where the customer approves the rebalancing, and automatically the stocks which need to be sold will be sold from the DP, and the stocks which need to be bought will be bought back into the portfolio. So now this is what we call as a rebalancing option available. So all small cases on the platform designed by all managers have the rebalance functionality built into it. There are specific days have been allotted for rebalancing to happen, and small case managers, when I say small case managers, I mean advisors on the platform, they make sure that their portfolio in line with the market requirements, in line with the evolving market conditions, in line with the philosophy of the basket. So that is what I mean when I say small case rebalancing. So, moving forward, let us take a look at some of the examples of small cases that have been listed on the FundExpert platform. So, I'm going to log into the platform right now. Just give me a minute. So, meanwhile, for those of you who will have any questions, please feel free to post those questions in the chat box. I'll be taking up these questions at the end of the session. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to all of you. So now we have logged into the FundExpert platform. So over here, you can see some options that are available on the left side. And over here, you can see services being tagged as new. So what you can do is once you've logged in, you can click on services. And over here, the second option that you're going to see is called as small case baskets. So over here, you can click on the no more option. And over here, you will notice many baskets that have been listed. For example, you can see something called value and momentum. You can see something called specialty chemicals. And then you can see balanced multi-factor tactical, high quality right price, dividend yield, and then so on and so on. So all these are basically small cases, or all these are basically direct equity portfolios which have been listed on the FundExpert platform by our SEBI-registered managers. So let us take a look at any one particular basket and see what details we can gather about that basket. So now I'm going to click on the first basket, that is value and momentum. So when we click on a basket, we are able to see certain information is being presented here. So now the first information that we can see is the name of that particular small case. In this case, it is called value and momentum. And what this small case does in one single line will be mentioned over here. So here we can see that positive momentum stocks available at a discount to their peers is the criteria for selecting stocks into this particular basket. Now, the next question you might have is who are the fund or who is the curator of this basket? We spoke about SEBI registered managers curating baskets. So, who is the SEBI registered manager? In this case, it is an entity called Windmill Capital. So, previously we saw many managers who are listed there. So, we'll be taking a look at some other managers also shortly. Now, every small case comes with a minimum ticket size or what we call as a minimum investment amount. So when we are curating a basket on the platform, these are essentially stocks. And in India, we don't have fractional share ownership of of any stocks. So what is happening here is when we curate a basket, all these stocks are basically picked up in their whole value. So the stocks are picked up as such at their current market price. So the minimum investment amount of any basket is basically the current market price of that particular share of those particular shares multiplied by the number of shares that we are picking up as a basket. So the minimum investment amount gets decided by the platform directly depending on all the stocks present and their current market price, the number of quantities that that particular basket has. Now, the minimum investment amount can also vary a little bit depending on the market condition. Now, we also have on the Smallcase platform SIPs available. So, if a customer wants to set up an SIP, he's free to do so because the platform allows SIPs to be set up. And similarly, you will notice something called as a CAGR here. So here we have mentioned 6-year CAGR as 23.44%. Now the reason why we have a 6-year CAGR here is because it has been 6 years since this portfolio has become live on the platform, and all those 6 years worth of performance has been taken and the CAGR has been computed for that. Now, return since inception speaks about the return that the portfolio has made since its inception date. And you'll find some other details like Sharpe ratio and risk levels mentioned over here. Now, when you scroll down, you're able to see the performance graph. So when I take my mouse and take it to the very beginning of the performance graph, I see the value as 100. So what this is basically telling you is if the customer had, for example, invested 100 rupees in that particular basket, what would have been the value of that particular portfolio over a period of time. So that 100 would have slowly, that 100 from April 2016, which is being shown there, has gradually appreciated to about 358 today. So that is the performance of this particular basket. Similarly, you will find category distribution mentioned over here. So you can see large cap, mid cap, and small cap categorization mentioned here. So if you as an advisor of, or if you as an IFA want to find out before recommending to the client how the market cap distribution has, been, I would say, segregated on the platform, you will be able to find it here. And you'll be able to find weekly returns, monthly returns, quarterly returns, half yearly returns, yearly, 3 years, 5 years, and since inception returns on the platform right over here. So this is what Smallcase is all about, which has been listed on the FundExpert platform. Now, how does a user journey work and what is going to happen if the user wants to invest in a basket? So first you'll find invest now button over here. So once the user clicks on invest now, what is going to happen is you will see something called connecting to brokers, and you will see a list of all the brokers available here. So you can see names like Zerodha, 5paisa, Angel, Grow, HDFC, ICICI, Kotak, Upstocks, and many other brokers like Axis, Edelweiss, and so on. So what is happening here is basically the customer can use any one of his trading and demat accounts wherever he has one to log into the platform and to invest in the Smallcase. For example, let us say that I have a Zerodha account. So what I'm going to basically do is just simply click on Zerodha. And once I do this, the platform will now redirect me to the login page of Zerodha, where I simply have to put my credentials, my Zerodha credentials, input my password, and click on login. And now I'm going to input my PIN and click on continue. So now we have been directly logged in to the FundExpert platform, but we are being put or we are being asked to move ahead with our user journey. So over here, the first thing that I'll have to do is go through a very normal KYC process. So here risk assessment of the customer happens, and post that the client needs to input his PAN, the client needs to select his date of birth, the client needs to choose the kind of payment that he wants to make, and the client can click on pay, use the payment options that are available, and continue investing in that particular basket. So all these are basically fee-based portfolios, which means that the client has to make a fee payment before being able to invest in that particular basket. So now, going back to the platform, we have multiple portfolios designed by multiple SEBI registered advisors. So value and momentum is a basket which has been designed by Windmill Capital, like we had seen. Similarly, when we scroll down, we are able to see another portfolio by Right Research. So this is called balanced multi-factor tactical. Similarly, we have high quality right price, which has been designed by Green Portfolio. And what that small case does will be mentioned right over here. Similarly, when you scroll down, you have multiple advisors having designed multiple sets of baskets, each designed with their own philosophy. So this is what small case basket is all about. And I'm willing to take any questions that all of you as users might have about the platform in general and about anything. I'm open to anything.
Great, Pranav. It was the explanation. I'm sure is now clear about the small case to the our audience. Now we will now take the questions and then answer. So I will just read out the questions from the chat, Pranav, and then you can answer. Okay. So one question is the return was in absolute or CAGR. So I think you can just show back the screen and explain the 6 year, 3 year returns where I think were all CAGR and the return from inception was absolute return, right?
Correct. Both are present on the platform.
Yeah. So you have both returns. So Mrikang Gupta's question has been answered. Let you know there when you mention in duration 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, those are CAGR ones, and then when you are looking at inception kind of thing, that is absolute. And then we have a question like from Mr. Srinivasan, are the fees annual? So I guess you have multiple options. I think there was a pop-up which had come when Pranav had opened the screen. There you had options of 3 months, 6 months, like some, this option is given by the provider of the small case. Am I right, Sir Pranav? You can
Yes.
throw more light.
So we have two types of fee structures available on the platform. One is a flat fee structure, and the other one is an AUM based structure. So in a flat fee structure, there are multiple time frames. For example, 3 month subscription could be provided, 6 month subscription could be provided, and so on. So if the client opts for a 6 month subscription, then he has to make this is for a flat fee model. The client will make an upfront flat fee of 6,000 and he will be picking up that particular portfolio. Now, what will happen if the subscription ends after a period of 6 months? So the holdings are not sold off. The holdings are kept as it is. Nothing changes. But if the client doesn't renew his subscription, the client will lose eligibility for rebalance updates. So what keeps the portfolio healthy? Or what keeps the portfolio in line with the market? So it is rebalancing of the portfolio that is continuously happening all the time. So if the subscription ends and if the client does not renew, then rebalance notifications are stopped, but the client's holdings is still kept in the DP. Nothing changes. So this is one thing about flat fee small cases. Then we have something called as AUM based small cases also on the platform, where the charges are charged on an annual basis, but based on the total assets under management that the client has. For example, now let us say there is a portfolio called XYZ where it has a component of AUM fee of 2.5% per year. Now, what is going to happen here? It works more or less in a PMS format. So what is going to happen here is once the client makes or once the client invests, for example, 5 lakh rupees into that basket, now, a fee of 2.5% needs to be charged on an annual basis, but we don't debit the 2.5% upfront. That 2.5% is divided by 12 months. And let us say that comes to 0.20%. Whatever is the AUM of that client in that entire month, average AUM, whether the portfolio goes up, down, he invests more, he starts SIP, whatever is the total amount, we calculate the total amount on a daily basis and average it out. Whatever is the average amount, we charge the 0.2% to the client on that through an e-nudge mandate. So during the subscription flow, the client needs to set up an e-nudge mandate. And in the e-nudge mandate, we would have specified that we are going to charge 0.2% on AUM. So accordingly, for a period of 1 year, whatever the client's AUM is, we'll keep charging the client on a trailing basis for a period of 12 months. Now, again, if the client resubscribes to the portfolio, then that will continue. If the client decides to stop his subscription, from then on, the AUM based fee will not be charged. This is how a small case fee structure works.
Uh, Thanks, Pranav, for the explanation. So one more thing, one more doubt, Mr. Srinivas, related to fees only. We'll just
Mhm,
finish the fees related. If I
mhm.
invest in number or lots, will it be one-time charge or every time I will have to pay charge if you do number
No,
of transactions? So
no. So there are two types of charges like I discussed. For flat fee-based small cases, the client is paying a one-time flat fee. Apart from that, the client is not going to pay anything. It doesn't matter how much the investment amount is. So now let us say there is a portfolio where the minimum investment amount is, for example, 1 lakh rupees. And the advisor is charging 3,000 rupees for a 6-month subscription. Now, let us say the client made his investment and he started his investment with 1 lakh. Now, the client feels that 3% expense ratio is too high. So, the client puts in an additional 3 lakhs. Now, is the client going to pay more at that time? Absolutely not. If the client invests 10 lakhs, is the client going to pay more? Absolutely not. So, it is a flat one-time fee only being charged to the customer. So the customer can set up SIPs, the customer can invest more, how much ever they do, the flat fee remains the same. It is not charged over and over again. Now, this is point one. When we come to AUM based small cases, where we are charging on the assets under management. So over here, if the client starts investing more, or if the client starts setting up an SIP, then at that point of time, the AUM of the client is increasing and we are charging a percentage on the AUM. So over there, yes, if the client invests more, according to his investment value, we will be charging more. So that is the distinction between flat fee and AUM based small cases.
uh, thanks, Pranav. So again, I just to add further to what he said, the flat fee is for a duration. So you have 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. So in that 1 year period, you have paid a flat fee. How much times you invest, it will not change your pricing of it will not you will not be charged any more fees. You have already paid for 1 year, whatever be your investment amount, how much you do, the flat fee means only the flat amount only for that 1 year. Next year when he renews the subscription, it's a like an annual subscription, you can think he will have to pay for a period, but it will not matter on the amount he was invested. And that's why this becomes very interesting for a set of customers, which I'm sure all of you are struggling as MFDs. We struggle to capture. There are people who go like to go direct, so who take direct funds. So there they will have, you can, why you can position a small case there against them is because a small case where a flat fee you will is like is much cheaper compared to what he is paying a fee to the fund manager on an AMC basis. Because so people who go direct, this can be a proposition which you can offer and give come and make them come back on small case, make them invest in equity through you. Because anyway, if they are going direct, use direct means they are going direct funds, then they are not coming on regular fund, right? So you are going to lose him anyway on equity plans. But through this route, you can still gain a share of the equity fees which is generated, because a small case as a percentage and a flat fee will be much cheaper than even going paying a fund manager fee in a equity fund. So you can target that, that special benefit can take there. So a flat fee basically allows you to subscribe to a small case with for a period, and irrespective of the amount which you have invested. Whereas AUM based fee works similar to how it is charged for your any mutual fund, which the charges are there. It's a per annum basis and it's based on the amount of investment done. So obviously, if suppose somebody has invested today X amount, the charges will be calculated on X. Suppose after 6 months he invests X plus something, then from that day, because it's a per day AUM based charges, na, which will be added for the end of the year and calculated together. There the amount will change, but only incremental amount. Suppose I have already paid for 5 lakh AUM, then obviously the AUM does not go higher than 5 lakh. You will not be charged because 5 lakh you would have already paid for, right? So suppose you have done 5 lakh and the AUM is down, say, for some reason. Now you have your asset under management has gone down, and then so then and you have done some incremental investment, and still the amount is not more than 5 lakh. Your it will be actual basis, right? So an actual basis, you are only paying as per your AUM as applicable for that day, right? So it will vary as per that. That's what I are paying in on a AUM based fee. Am I right, Pranav, on these points?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess that take care of the question which is on the charges which are paid. Now one question related to that, Setu, again related to the charge itself is fees paid to FundExpert or to RIA? You are actually paying fees directly to the RIA, because if you see the fee structure, it says pay to the RIA. Correct, Pranav, again on that?
Yes, you're correct. So according to the SEBI regulations, the fee has to be paid to the manager of the small case. So
Correct.
in this case, it would be the RIA who has
Who
curated
is
it.
managed? So fees there directly goes to the manager of small case, does not go to FundExpert. So I hope that question is answered. I'm taking all other questions also. I'm just grouping the questions which are related to fee. So first I finish fees based structure, then I'll move to the broker related questions and all that. Okay. So now, so one question on the fee: is our share lucrative when compared to mutual fund trade? Yes, it is. If you look at the small cases, what we have, the small cases which are like 2.5% and all that. If you look at the percentage share, what you are going to get out of that, it will be lucrative, which I will cover it post the sessions which you will cover for your payout questions. Okay, so Ashik, you need to wait till the end, and then we will cover it the payout related question. Now, I guess we have finished with the fee related thing. Now we'll go to the other related subject, like the rebalance things. Now we have questions on rebalance. So Pranav, the first question is like on rebalances, that uh, does the rebalance takes care of various corporate actions like bonus, write back, buyback, all that, because that will change the number of stocks which we have in the portfolio.
Yes, it is done on the system directly. So whenever corporate actions happens, and these are essentially direct equity baskets, right? So when a user is investing in a basket, these stocks are coming directly to the demat account of the client. They're staying in the DP. So it is whether the corporate actions are happening for direct stocks that the user has purchased by himself through a small case basket. Essentially, the flow is still one and the same, and the basket takes everything into account as soon as the corporate action happens.
Correct. So that question is answered, Setu, that the rebalance takes care of those. He is cognizant of all those corporate action when that happens. So it will take care of that. Rupert Dinesh's question is again related to rebalancing is how easy or how frequently would client do the approval for rebalancing strategy? If client misses to approve, then what happens?
Okay, so every small case manager has a specific philosophy, right? Now, the philosophy could vary. For example, let us say I am an advisor and I want to curate a basket on dividend based small cases. Now, let us say that I have curated a basket where I am picking up stocks depending on whether that stock's dividends are increasing over a period of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and so on. Now, over here, there is no necessity for me as an advisor to keep rebalancing the portfolio every month, because my decision to keep a stock, hold a stock, or remove a stock is once a year, depending on that year's cumulative dividends which have been paid out. So, in such cases, as an advisor, I would keep that particular basket's rebalance frequency as once in a year. Now, I could also be designing a momentum based small case where the idea is to hold stock or to check the stock's momentum for a period of 2 months. So over here, I might need to churn the portfolio. Churning is the wrong word. So maybe I would need to rebalance the portfolio once in 2 months. So in such cases, I'm going to keep the rebalance frequency as monthly for that portfolio or once in a quarter for that portfolio. So really, the rebalance frequency depends on that particular small case and whatever that advisor has decided for that particular small case. So for some small cases, the rebalance frequency is monthly on the platform. For some small cases, it is quarterly. For some small cases, it is yearly. And for very few rare small cases, which are monitored even thoroughly because the platform, the portfolio has been designed on some different strategy. There it could be weekly also, but it's a very rare scenario. So generally speaking, most of the portfolios have a quarterly rebalance cycle, but there are other rebalance cycles also in place on the platform. Now, apart from this, your next question was, what will happen if the client decides to ignore the rebalance or skip the rebalance? So as soon as a rebalance notification is pushed out to the client has two options, either to approve the rebalance or to skip the rebalance. Now, if the client approves, automatically all the changes will be made in his portfolio because this is considered as a consent by the client to allow us to do that automatically. Now, if the client skips the rebalance, then he needs to wait till the next rebalance and his set of stocks will remain the same. Nothing changes and that is continued. Now, if a client skips a rebalance, what you have to keep in mind is that his returns will start fluctuating. It will vary from the returns being claimed by the advisor on the platform. So the advisor's portfolio returns will be displayed based on the assumption that clients are initiating rebalances. So it is of or I would say it is quite important that the client goes through the rebalancing every time the rebalancing is pushed through. So that is the idea behind a small case. You can think of small case like a mini PMS. So in a PMS, what happens is rebalancing is a part of the journey. So even over here, there is a consent mechanism put in place and the client needs to keep rebalancing. If the client has skipped, he has to wait for the next rebalancing. In the next rebalancing, if he approves, accordingly the portfolio will be changed. If he skips that rebalancing also, again he has to wait for the next rebalancing. So this is the procedure.
Okay. Thanks, Pranav. So now there is a question: is the rebalancing done with only with specific periodicity or based on big market movements?
So it is done with specific periodicity most of the time. I would say 99.9% of the time. It happens once in a quarter or once in a half year or once a year as per what the fund manager or as per what the investment advisor has mentioned on the platform. So on the platform, even the dates during which the rebalancing will be initiated will be mentioned in advance. But we do have a provision for something called as an ad hoc rebalancing. So this is not something that the advisors use on the platform too much, but there is a provision where, for example, let us say an adverse event happens. Nobody knew that COVID was going to correct the market so quickly by about 40% and so on when we saw the March 2020 crisis. Now, similarly, let us say stock specific information comes out where there is a management issue happening or something happening. Now, let us say the advisor for some reason has that stock in one of his baskets. Now, that particular advisor need not wait till the rebalancing date to initiate the rebalance. So, if the advisor believes that holding that stock is an immediate threat, then they can do something called as an ad hoc rebalancing, where the rebalancing notification is pushed out immediately in order to remove the stock from the portfolio. This provision is there on the platform, but is not used just for the sake of using. So that would confuse users. So we generally wait till the rebalance date. But since provision exists, it can be used by advisors in case of rare market changing situations. So it is there.
Yeah. So I think that answers that question very well. That the standard rule is generally follow the periodicity because that's how you do investment management or long term. You don't want to simply churn for the sake of churn. You want to basically do it on a periodic. But yes, if there are specific stock specific insights or things which a fund manager has, then obviously he has a right to, because it is his customer's money, right? It's your client money, right? So it is his so he it is performance of his portfolio also. So he has abilities to take means in the platform allows him to send specific notation ad hoc, like I said, rebalancing. But it's obviously looking at the kind of stock selection process and everything goes through, that only does not happen at a very, it is not a routine. It's like correct, Pranav? That's what.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Correct. So that's what happened. And second, Kalpesh question was: is rebalancing chargeable? So rebalancing is not chargeable. There's no separate charge for this repair, fix, rebalancing. All these options. These are only done. The charging is based on only two things: either you pay for that period or pay based on the AUM. So based on whatever AUM is there, the AUM charging is the same way the way you understand mutual fund charging. That's how it is charged. So how many times the rebalancing happen? That is not chargeable. Kalpesh, is that clear? And yes, obviously the reminders are sent to the client to approve or reject they can approve or skip it, basically the rebalancing thing. They may not do it. So
So one thing I would like to add here, the rebalancing notification is sent to the clients on their Smallcase mobile app, on their broker mobile app, whichever broker they have, via email, via SMS, and even via WhatsApp. So users have the flexibility to enable WhatsApp notifications also on the platform. So whenever a rebalance is initiated, through all these five mechanisms, the notifications are pushed out to customers. reminders are also sent back to back to make sure that customers are rebalancing.
Yeah. Okay. Then the next question is there. Nagaraj has a question. Is there any time limit for approving that rebalance? That whatever is.
So there is no hard and fast rule as to the within what time limit the customer has to rebalance. The customer can wait for some time and then also go ahead with rebalancing. So if you must know, most of the rebalancing on the platform happens within 1 week duration. But if the user decides to wait till the next rebalancing, then only the next rebalancing will be the client will be eligible. But no, there are no hard and fast rules as to there is a specific time period within which the client has to
Correct.
immediately rebalance. There is
Yeah.
nothing like that.
Correct, yes, Pranav. So, Mr. Nagaraj got it. There's no time limit. The customer can do it anytime unless customer decides to skip it and do it next. Unless he does that, he can do it virtually anytime. So, there's no time limit for approval. He can do it. Okay. So, next question is like from Setu regarding this. Is there a minimum amount for lump sum investing, like for lump sum investing and SIP, like mutual fund
So
schemes?
yes, so that is actually mentioned in advance for all the small cases. So
Correct.
as you can see on the screen, now let us say we are looking at something called Alpha Dynamic Thematic by Alpha Portfolios. So over here, there is a minimum ticket size of 2 lakhs for this basket and the SIP is 5,000 for this basket. Similarly, if we go back and let us say we take a look at high quality right price, which has been designed by Green Portfolio. So over here, you can see that the minimum investment amount is 20,382 by the client and the SIP amount is 5,000. So it really depends on the small case. Every small case has a different minimum ticket size and a different SIP amount. So all that will be mentioned on the FundExpert platform, each and every small case.
One question which I think two people have asked that is this rebalancing notification which are sent to the client as as an advisor or means as an IFA who are handling the client, can they get a copy of it or they kept in loop, or is it only goes directly to the client only?
So we have something called as the share platform. So I'll be speaking with the gateway team and trying to extend it to you also. So
Okay.
on the share platform, advisors can see and can get notified about their customers' rebalances, which customer has rebalanced that particular portfolio, which customers haven't rebalanced, what is the SIP amount of the customer, what is the invested value of the customer. All that will be available on the share.se platform, which will be extended to all of you eventually.
Okay, so we'll come back to that because right now you can assume it's that's directly given to the client, but in due course we will work out a way to extend it, because it's a client basically who has to approve. Even if it comes to you, you can only inform client because anyway client has to use the demat ID and password. So Divyesh Kumar Makani is there that what is our liability to a client if we approve rebalance on behalf of client? But I think you cannot approve rebalance on behalf because it will again ask for the broking, right? The
Correct.
broking.
Correct. So the IFA has no authority or no provision available anywhere where he can approve rebalancing for the client. So
Correct.
that has to be done by the user.
Yes, that has to be done by the user. So basically, and if you have taken his demat ID password and you are doing it, then anyway it is like for nobody can figure out whether client did it or you did it. So then
Correct.
it's like that is now that is a thing between you and the client, because the client like clients, all clients have been advised by SEBI and everywhere, do not share your ID password. But even if then they share, then who is responsible? I think the client and you both are equally responsible for such actions. If you are trying to take his ID password and do it, then it is a faith between you and both, like how we, both of you are. So so I think that is a question is what is the liability that a client can obviously, if you did something without taking his consent and did it, then like any other place they can also question you. That is that deviation clear? So I'm saying you, if you, so that's why the standard practice is that uh, that you should not take ID password of any client and do it. Ask them to do it. That's a much better way, and that's the thing to do it. That's what we suggest, and that's what we will say you should do, because you will not be done. Okay. Now, so now we have a question which is really, I think rebalancing questions are kind of done. Okay. And so question we said na, you as a broker you will not get, but we will figure out a way to share those notifications, how we can help you share them. Okay. Yes, so we will give you. So, yeah, within FE portal, you will have, you get a mail. Each client will get a mail from Smallcase for rebalancing. And within FE portal also, when he will go there, he will be able to see rebalancing. There is an option called rebalancing inside. Okay. So, yeah, we are
So,
taking
sir,
all
I
the
think
question
that
and answer.
there
Don't worry. We'll,
are questions coming from the audience saying that they can't hear. There is an audio issue. I'm able to hear you
no, no,
clearly.
yeah,
So
yeah. But
maybe,
I think others are able to hear. They have cleared it.
okay,
So,
sure.
so that
So
is
if users are having those problems, you can log out and log in again, and you'll be able to hear. Most usually that solves the problem.
sure. Okay. Now, question is that how if they are associated some brokers like Composite Edge or Aditya Birla Money and all, and currently they are not on small case. Is that Aditya Birla Money is there on small case right now?
No, no.
No, not there. Okay. So, so are means is it a continuous process? You keep adding brokers on small
Yes.
case?
Yes, so we are in the process of adding more brokers, but as of now, the top 12 to 13 brokers in India have already been covered on the platform. So for us, broker integration is a very big process and it takes about 6 months for us to integrate with the broker. So it's not an overnight journey. So we are adding brokers. We are in the process of adding more and more brokers over a period of time. The idea was to tie up with the first top 12 brokers. And today, if you take a look at the number of brokers that we have, uh, overall, if you look at the total number of Demat account holders in India, almost 90% of the Demat account holders have either their primary or their secondary Demat account with any one of these brokers that we have already partnered up with. So we have more or less covered 90% of the market that is out there. But with the remaining brokers, for example, Sharekhan or Aditya Birla or maybe one of those few smaller brokers that are out there, we still haven't integrated, but we are in the process of doing so.
Yeah. So the questions regarding to Aditya Birla Composite Edge, Share Khan, that has been answered. Okay. Brokers list. We will. It was there visible on the platform. If you click on invest, we will take it. Otherwise, we will share it separately anyway. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and like we said, now this is a long-term process of adding brokers. That's always there in the discussion. As and when that will happen, it will be informed. Fine. Okay. Now, question is, so I'll come back to. So when I share you the broker list, you will be able to know with all those can happen. And yes, so yeah, so we have various types for opening account. So now I just wanted to inform for everyone. Recently, we have done a app. FundExpert has done app with Edelweiss. So if you want to open an account with Edelweiss, you will get both brokerage share as well as account opening benefit. That has happened. So and Edelweiss is a enlisted broker in small case also. Okay. So those who are interested to know more about, so we are telling you a solution na, for this how to integrate a broker which is already there. So if you want to open accounts for your customers with Edelweiss and take advantage of it, you can just send ping your RMs and they will guide you through the process. Okay, so that will be there. Okay, so so there is an option we have added where you can sign up with brokers of which are empaneled with FundExpert and everything, and you will get benefit on all that. So Anu Agarwal, that question, does it answer your question? I guess that you can how we can benefit out of open account. You can, so you will get benefit. So we have now brokers on platform who where you can. So now I'll just answer one question. Can does investor have flexibility to partially redeem a small case, or they have to
Yes.
fully exit a small case?
Yes. So now every small case has a minimum tickets associated with it, a minimum investment amount associated with it. Now let us say that that minimum investment amount is 20,000 for a small case called XYZ. Now, if the client has made an investment of only 20,000 rupees in that small case, then a partial withdrawal will not be possible because that small case's minimum ticket size itself is 20,000 and the client has invested only that. So partial exit here will not be possible. Now, let us say the same XYZ small case, the client had started with a minimum ticket size of 20,000 or his initial amount itself with 50,000 rupees, or let us say he had started his investment with 20,000, but over a period of time through SIPs or through by investing more into the small case basket, he has made his investment 50,000 rupees. Now this additional 30,000 rupees which the client has invested in that basket, is partially redeemable. So when the client clicks on partial redeeming option on the platform, 30,000 rupees can be partially redeemed by the client, but 20,000 rupees still has to stay in that basket. So over here, for the remaining 20,000, he can either exit out of the entire basket and redeem the full 20,000, or he needs to keep that 20,000. But within that 20, he can redeem half, things like that.
So I think that question answers that you don't have to exit fully if you, unless your portfolio is very large, unless you go below the, you come to that point. Okay. Yes, yes, Kirana. So I'm just sending you that message only in the chat. Please save this number as broadcast, because we will be sending you all on this through broadcast this list of brokers and everything. Okay. So you please save this number as broadcast list, and then after post the program you will get a list of all the brokers. So all of you will get. Please save this number if you have already not saved. If you have already saved this number, you don't have to save it. You will get a list there, so you will be able to see it. So Anu is asking, is there any lock-in period for these investments made through Smallcase?
No. So this is where the platform like a Smallcase is starts shining, and this is where we are completely different from the market. So we are more user centric. There are no lock-in periods for any small cases on the platform. That we don't have such things enabled itself on the platform. So whenever a customer wants, let us say a customer invests in the small case today at 11 a.m. He wants to exit the small case at 11:05 a.m. as soon as he has made his investment. He is free to do so. There are no restrictions, there are no lock-in periods, and there are absolutely no charges for exiting from a small case.
Fine, thanks. And then the next question is can client sell his small case stocks from his broker login?
Yes, the client can do that, but here, if the client directly logs in through his broker and starts selling it there, then on the small case platform, we would not know that the client has sold it from his DP. So that information will not be passed on in real time by brokers. So the ideal thing to do is for the client to come to the small case platform and exit from the small case directly there. And the client also has flexibility to manage his own small case, which means the client has flexibility to add stocks or remove stocks from that particular basket himself on the small case platform. But one thing that we discourage is the client to for the client to go directly to the broker account and sell from there. So if the client does that, he needs to email small case stating that he has done it, and we'll rectify and make sure that changes are reflecting on the platform here. So it is possible, but the client has to do it on the platform.
Yeah, and second thing, you have if you go to FundExpert, you can see exit option there, so you can use it to exit a small case investment. When you have
Yes.
invested in a small case, you can see that. Second, in your subscribe small case, you will get various actions. Okay, so we'll have. Yeah, they've anybody who has any other questions which you have which get missed out, you can
So
always
there
raise
is
it.
one question by Setu who asks, are there non small cases available like debt, rights, futures and options, etc.? Absolutely not. So small case is a platform which encourages direct equity participation in or through portfolios and not through derivative instruments. Okay. So here the idea is to pick up only in the equity sector. So we have no futures, we have no options available on the platform. And when it comes to debt, we have only one instrument, which is called liquid bees, which is a debt-based instrument which is traded on the exchange, which can be a part of the portfolio. Apart from that, gold investment is allowed through gold ETFs. So it could be Nippon India ETF, it could be many ETFs that are present. But the restriction of the system is to take part only in equity, gold through gold bees or through gold ETFs, and debt through liquid bees. That's about it.
Uh, is there any premature stopping subscription option available? I don't think so, but you can.
So, so here, for flat fee small cases, the option is not available because the client would have upfront made the payment for 3 months or for 6 months. So once the fee has been debited and passed on to the advisor, it will not be reversed again and again because the client has access to stocks and everything. But for AUM-based small cases where the debit mandate has been taken for a period of 1 year, the subscriptions can be stopped midway also. And even if the client exits out of the small case, the AUM of the client is considered to be zero. So we will not have anything to charge to the client because we are charging for an AUM, right? So if the customer's AUM is zero, there is nothing for us to charge there. So this is the distinction.
So you can see the AUM price pricing, you stop it and you only paid for that period and that. Other than that, you are paid for a particular period, that amount is not reversible. So that I think answers the question which Setu had. Then if the client want to exit from Smallcase, you can exit from FundExpert platform. Because in FundExpert platform, there is a Smallcase where subscriptions, all subscribed Smallcase will be visible and there is an exit option. So YAM Financial, you can exit from FundExpert platform. If we your question I think is, can we use our existing stocks and exist in Smallcase? I don't think so that is there.
No, that will not happen because you cannot make your existing stocks into a portfolio. The portfolio has to be curated by a SEBI registered manager and you can invest in it.
Correct. So you can't use the existing stocks in the portfolio. You can obviously buy a Smallcase and maintain it, and then if you have any existing same stock, if you have it separately, you can exit those stocks because these stocks need to be tracked separately. These stocks. That's why. Okay. Is a let me just say, do the client has to give NACH mandate to broker for SIP subscription? What is the date of execution of the SIP?
So whenever a client is setting up an SIP on the platform, so the client is basically choosing the date on which he wants to make the SIP, and the client is also choosing the frequency of the SIP. Now, what I mean by this is, let us say that a client wants to set up an SIP on a very specific date. Now he can choose that specific date on which he wants to make that SIP, and basically the orders of the SIP will get executed on that specific date only. And where is the amount being debited for the client? From the broker account directly. So here there is no requirement of a NACH mandate to be set up. So the NACH mandate has to be set up only if something is being debited from the bank account. But since this is the investment value which is being debited, it happens through the securities account for which a NACH mandate need not be set up.
Correct. So basically, subscription don't need to set up a snatch mandate for that.
Right. So there's one more question which says, are there algo-based trading facilities available? So this is a very unique question. So on the platform, there are managers who are curating. For example, Right Research is there on the platform, on FundExpert platform. And one of the philosophies being used by Right Research is quantitative strategies, where quant or math is the logic behind how stocks are being picked up. So I would not call this algo-based trading. I would say it is something similar to that, which is quantamental strategies or quantitative strategies. But algo as such makes it into or algo happens through a trading based mechanism where algo trading is very misunderstood in the market. Algo trading is more inclined towards taking short term trades in very high frequency. But investing does not happen through an algo based mechanism, generally speaking. So, yes, something similar to algo trading exists, which is called quantamental strategies. Not all small cases, but there are some small cases.
Pranav, you can show your screen. We have given a filter for quant in our thing because
Sure.
so you can share the screen and all the small case page, and you can show that
Sure.
the filter of if you have not closed the screen. So basically, so you can see there is a we have given this filter called quant. You can select that, and you will get those kind of quant kind of strategies. And these are kind of strategies you can recommend people who are looking for some kind of. You can see quant. When you click on quant, the strategies which are running some kind of quant and all that kind of stuff, you will be able to see that these strategies are appearing, which has some kind of quant. They use some kind of quantamental techniques to manage these strategies. Okay, so that. So yeah, yeah. So basically, if you look at MFs, every equity is high risk. So one thing, Smallcase configures the risk level. This is the question, because all are equity Smallcase. So how do you configure the risk level?
So here the risk level, there is no distinction between, I would say, a small case and any other direct equity portfolios that are out there. It could be a PMS, it could be so on. So on the platform, what we do to gauge the risk level of a portfolio is to try to understand how the portfolio is working in different market conditions. And for example, if the portfolio is too volatile, let us say that an index has given you a 14% CAGR, or let us say an index has given a 14% return in the last 1 year, and portfolio is fluctuating much more than that over a period of time. It could be on the upside, it could be on the downside. So in such cases, there will be a tag of high volatility tagged to that particular small case. In case a small case acts, or in case a small case has less volatility attached to it, and it is performing, or its performance is more or less relatively stable compared to the index, then it is tagged as medium volatility. And for those small cases which have different asset classes. For example, there could be gold inside that, there could be debt inside it, and only a partial exposure could be given to equity. So these kind of portfolios tend to give a stable performance over a period of time. So those portfolios are tagged as low volatility portfolios. So this is how we basically try to give tags to different small cases on their volatility levels or their risk levels.
Right. So I think that is a question answered, and then we are coming to last that which is more probably a question directed to me. How can a fund expert partner also invest and get the benefit, or is it only for clients? No, fund expert partner is also his own client, right? So you have to add, like Mr. Nagaraj, you will have your personal account which will be mapped under you, and you can invest through that through small case and get the benefit. Okay. So it is not just for client, you can use it for personal also. So, Mitesh, I think anyway, this question is a generic question. What is the difference between mutual fund and small case?
So, this is a question that I keep getting all the time when I speak about small cases. So, both asset classes have their own set of merits. So, one way in which small case tries to, be different in the market is, apart from normal things that these are direct equity products, here, the set of stocks are coming to customers DP. These are all execution of these are, I would say, basic level queries about how small cases are different. But if you see from a design philosophy, now there are about 18 types of mutual funds that can be curated. I hope this is not outdated information, but I think that there are 18 types of mutual funds which can be created, large cap, small cap, and so on. So now let us say a fund manager, a mutual fund wants to curate a large cap fund. Now there are certain restrictions that that particular fund manager falls into. For example, regulations dictate that all this or the stocks that have been chosen for that particular mutual fund need to be selected from Nifty 100 and so on. But on the small case platform, our advisors do not fall under any such restrictions. So what happens here is that a manager could curate a portfolio keeping his custom weightage into place. So he could allocate 30% to large cap, 30% to mid cap, 40% to small cap, and so on. And not only this, small cases can be designed with strategies which are unique in the market. For example, we have a portfolio. I mean, it's so we have a portfolio called electric mobility, where we invest in stocks which are poised to perform well because they are participating in electric revolution which is happening in India through the logistics sector. So these stocks could be manufacturing, or these companies could be manufacturing electric vehicle stocks, and or the stocks that are chosen for that particular basket have or are supplying, or their ancillary companies supplying parts to electric stock manufacturers. So as the demand for electric vehicles increases, this kind of portfolio can be said to benefit out of it. So similarly, these are called thematic portfolios, where a certain theme is expected to play out and a portfolio can be curated on that. Similarly, like we saw on the using the filter option on FundExpert, we saw quant-based strategies. So these kind of quant-based strategies, again, a portfolio being curated using a quant-based strategy can be exclusively created only on platforms like Smallcase and not anywhere else in the market. So this is where Smallcase as a product offering tends to differentiate itself from the market.
Fine. Thanks for that. And I think there's the last question. Where do you get stock list in fund? It comes in a similar way. Once you subscribe to it, you will come to see all the stock wise, all the breakup, because you will be buying the stocks. Initially, because that is a proprietary information, you will be able to see the breakup, like the theme or the the categorization. That breakup you can get. Once you subscribe, you will get the complete. You will get the list of stocks because you will be buying those stocks anyway. As a client, that will be buying that stock. So then he will be able to see all the stocks in his portfolio. And then once he has, I think probably here I will take you later in the second half, maybe show you one of the live account where the already we have bought a small case, and there you can see all the list of stocks. So I think Pranav will not have any live account on FundExpert. We will open a live account, and I'll show you where we have already purchased small case, and you will be able to see all the list of stocks once you have bought it. What are the stocks? Okay. So
I think Nagraj has a question. Can fund expert partner also invest in small case through the platform and get the benefits?
yeah, I told them I answered it actually. So yes, they can do it, and they can invest and they can get the benefit. So I will show you that. And if you want to switch brokers and keep small case, what is Setu, your question is like you have already purchased a small case and which is managed through a particular broker. Now you are changing your broker. So I think they will have to
So
send a mail or something. I don't know.
no. So in that case, see, the stocks can essentially be transferred from broker to broker, but the small case as such cannot be transferred. So over here, in case a broker has already, sorry, in case a client has already invested via a broker, the only option for the client to exit from that particular broker and to start a new subscription with a different broker. So there is no provision for a user to migrate his small case from one broker to another broker.
So now there were two questions we'll take quickly. Last two questions, small case. Then we will move to next part because we are waiting already exceeded. So how much return can you expect from small case? I think I should answer that directly. You should not expect. You can't for returns are subject to obviously performance in the future. You only have past historical data, which you can expect. But it's like being a basket of stocks. Which is being managed by a fund manager. You can expect a kind of a returns which is like higher than the benchmark. So if you see there are always benchmarks or something shown that you can expect a return because that's what a fund manager is trying to do. Power Pranav, am I correct?
Yes.
You mentioned that. So they are all trying to beat some benchmark and they have their internal benchmarks and those benchmarks are shown also if you see the small case and all that. So basically they are trying to beat that. So expect more than the benchmark because that's what you should expect from the fund manager because they are putting their own kind of thing. That's right. So now Saswata Roy has a question. Can I create my own small case? If you are a RIA or RA with a license, you can then sign up a small case and create a small case. As an individual client, nobody can create their own small case. It has to be. It's a fund manager based small case. Correct, Pranav?
Yes. So there is one small provision on the platform where a user can simply curate a basket and just invest in it directly. But this is for his own investment. It cannot be shared. It does not have rebalance functionality. There is no fee attached to it. There is nothing. So it's just a very bare minimum feature for the user to play around with. That's about it. But that is not a used feature on the platform, and nobody really uses that to curate small cases. So essentially, what was informed is correct. Only a person who has a SEBI license, it could be RIA, RA, or PMS, can come to the platform, curate a small case, be eligible to rebalance the small case, and to charge a fee for it. That will be possible only and only by a SEBI registered manager.
So now I think we will now take any more questions. We on the small case we are done with that. We'll have to move to the next topic. We are on a short of time. I understand you have more questions, but there is no problem. Anybody who has any other questions which is not answered, you can always escalate it to RM or send a mail to us, and we will definitely write. Or the number which I had mentioned, you can send your question which was not answered here, and we will take the answers from them and send it back to you. Okay, because we have to move on to the next topic. So there will always be some doubt or something which probably at this point let's move into next topic. So here is there was one question somebody asked, do IFS have opportunity to interact with such fund managers to understand their strategy? So we have now such a fund manager today. We have United who has been patiently waiting with us. I think Mr. Chetan, you are there, and Mr. Sriram. So Pawan, before I hand over the session to them, Pranav, I'd like to thank you for the insightful session we had, and we hope
Thanks
to
a
have
lot,
you
Fred.
again for another session which we are planning. So in the coming week. Yeah. So let me introduce Chetan in a brief. I'm sure he will do a much better explain job. But I'm just saying they are from Green Portfolios. They are your fund managers who are there on FundExpert platform. whom we have empaneled, and we are great to have them. They come from a great background. I'm sure they will be able to tell more about themselves. And over to you, Chetan, for a quick telling about the small cases which you did.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. Myself, Chetan Pal. I am taking care of the distribution and sales part in Green Portfolio. I'll just give you a short brief about the company first, how the Green Portfolio has started. It is under the leadership of Mr. Devam Sharma and Anuj Jain. By profession, they both are chartered accountant and they have more than 15 years experience into the equity market. So prior to Smallcase, we were into the PMS. We are SEBI registered investment advisors, and we are PMS house, so research house as well. And we launched this Smallcase platform in March 2020. And currently, we have a team strength of 24. Majority of teams into the research part, who is all around 24/7 working for the research thing. And since 2020 March, we have accumulated more than 7,300 clients in under small case platform, and we are managing around 100 crores plus of asset under advisory, which is keep on growing on add-on and month, and we have active distributor of around 30 more there. Small case, definitely Pranav has covered up lots of things on the small case part, how the execution will happen, how the things will goes on that. So we are also one of the emerging, or we can say that a trending leader in small case platform. So we invest into the companies who are fundamentally strong and they have a very low debt, and they have a future potential to growth on the return side as well. So the overall, we look into those businesses who are debt free in status, who have a very low debt. So what we believe is that the debt is only the thing which kills the company. So we usually take care of, when we invest into any stock or into a portfolio, we'll consider the low debt strategy. And we have all type of PMS, or say that small cases, like high, medium, low volatility, depending on the client's need. So client just do their own profiling, and accordingly they can go for our investment strategies. So we also seen many things in past 7 to 8 years, many downfalls where the economy has experiences all-time inflation rate, but our small cases has delivered more than the inflation returns from that. So started a journey in 2014. We are now growing with our strategies in small case. Currently, we have 6 strategies under small case. It totally depends on the client, they want to choose it. And we are keep on adding the small kids client on every monthly basis, nearly 400 to 500. We are keep on adding the client. So this is just a short brief about the company I'm giving. And definitely the overall, the screening process, the research process is very important thing which we need to recover it on this. So we usually, what we see into the companies, so we usually see companies who have a strong corporate governance. So it shows how the companies how company have their management relation with management, and how the company usually do their audit reports. And we also look into the risk management, ki how are they hedging their commodity prices, how they hedging their foreign reserves. So we keep on constraint on the parameter of the strong corporate governance. Then we do the analysis of the industry, which we are next to emerging company, or we can leaders of tomorrow for in the industry. We'll find out that industry, under that industry we'll buy that companies or sector or stock specific. Then on the quantitative screening, keep on looking on the ratios of the company, the market cap, the fundamental, and the overall how the company will give us the return on equity in next 4 to 5 years kind of horizon. And we usually keep our companies for a long term investment prospect for at least 2 to 3 years. I will still hold on that company. And even on, we look into the company's strength, sustainability, and definitely on the product side, what are the product they are offering, are the companies into the customer centric. And we are keep on talking with our managements and the company managements to just to track the records, are they in line to that returns which they are expecting on their valuations. So at the end, we'll get the valuation of the company. Ki, these margin of safety which we are looking for, that key is this the safe business to invest into the market, because we invest into the growth oriented company. Definitely that company should be safer to invest in that universe as well. So what we see under the fundamentals, definitely the management integrity, capability, and history of the company, we see at least these the company has seen one down cycle in last 7 years. We have seen many down cycles, whether it was a Russia Ukraine war thing, or COVID, or ILFS crisis. So at least one down cycle, in one down cycle, the company should survive and recover from his their businesses. And we will always prefer those companies who having uptrend revenues, return on equity more than 15%, operating margins again for more than 15%, effective rates equivalent to the statutory tax rate. And being an chartered accountant, Devam and Anuj, they really knows about the company's balance sheet. They really knows about the profit and loss. So definitely with that's why we do the hardcore research on the particular company's fundamentals. And definitely we look at the companies who have a debt to equity lower than the 100%. And the last part is the product innovation, how much they spend on their brand building and the customer retention. These they taken care before investing into any stock or the portfolio. So as Pranav said, we also have a bunch of portfolios, a bunch of stocks we have where we give a name, different name to that. So we are one of the very flagship portfolio, which is high quality, right price. And we invest into those companies who are a beneficiary, or the we can start they focus on the development from the government schemes like Atma Nirbhar Bharat, Make in India, anti-Chinese, PLI scheme. So we identify those companies, we uh, we do our fundamental analysis on those companies, and we'll create that portfolio. So I'll keep discussing on the one-on-one portfolio. What is the high quality right price? So we definitely look at the high quality business at a reasonable price, or some companies which are available at undervaluation also. So the best part it is that we invest into those businesses who will become a multi-bagger. In equity market, when investors come, so definitely the investors preferably sees कि what to buy is very important. मुझे क्या लेना चाहिए इस market के अंदर. Then the second part that comes into the allocation, how much would be in the portfolio, and the third thing is the how long will need to be hold it. So that things will be taken care by the gain portfolio. So we identify the right business first, the stock, then we'll always look into the companies, the proper allocation. If I'm buying 15 to 20 companies, I'll given a right allocation depending on the market conditions. And definitely this portfolio is more inclined towards the small cap and mid cap stocks. So largely my portfolios, if you see under the small case things, we have a every mixed blend of the portfolio. So we have a large cap portfolio as well, mid cap and small cap, and hardcore small cap portfolio. And it's totally depends on the market and the customer's appetite of the risk. So if someone who wants to take a high risk, so definitely we have a portfolio which called small compounders, which usually we invest in those companies whose market cap range from 200 to 3,000 crores. And definitely again the multi-fold strategy of returns we are expecting from these companies. So the overall the allocation part varies from strategy to stock wise. And definitely every portfolios is differentiate from different portfolio. Well, I said if I investing in high quality right price, my sector allocation, my asset allocation on the stock will be differ from the other portfolio. So if client subscribe to my two portfolios, so he will get a different stock, different kind of investment in that portfolio. So largely just for your knowledge, I'm just giving you the stock allocation. So currently sector allocation we are in investing around 16% into the pharmaceutical, carrying back chemicals into 19%, and later on we go for the sugar, power, textiles. So categorically we see that we are taking some stocks from those sector where other fund managers are not covering up, because we largely what happened in PMS industry, usually most of the fund managers cover only top 50 or top 100 companies, and we go beyond that universe, and we'll pick that companies who will be the multi-bagger, who will be the next upcoming story for the market, because now everyone is talking about the EV segment. So might be my focus will be on the EV companies where or related companies which will give up beneficiaries to them. So one of the very trending high quality right price, this particular portfolio is currently if you talk about the CAGR return, it is nearly around 65 to 66% of CAGR, and we under small case this keep on updating the CAGR returns, because when the market falls and up, will that you can able to see on a daily basis how this goes my portfolio. If you see in 2020 March, we have come up with 100 rupees of the NAV. Now this portfolio is NAV some around 300 or 280, 290 is nearby. So my returns is always related to the benchmark, which is Nifty mid cap and small cap sector, because this portfolio is more towards the mid cap and small cap. So same way, minimum investment requirement, yes, these keep on changing. Currently, the minimum investment requirement is around 20 to 21,000, and depends on the market condition. The investment amount also keeps on changing. So we have enabled two kind of a fees. Firstly, is the fixed fee, which is 5,000 plus GST for 1 year. And so if any of the client of your client interested for AUM kind of plan, so we have a variable plan also, which is 2.0%. And this also the stock will goes into the broker's account. The client will sit what we client will selected that. So this is the high quality right price portfolio. Same way we have a small cap compounder. The client, the investor who wants to go for a high volatile sectors or stock, which is largely into the small cap, because all the 99% goes into the small cap sectors. And if you see the overall graph, this particular strategy, this also exceptionally did well in past 2 years. If you see the we have generated more than 60-65% of returns in a 1 year from this particular strategy. And the third, then we have a smart Nifty index portfolio. And the smart Nifty index portfolio, this is in largely into the not top Nifty 50 companies. We identify 15 to 20 companies from top Nifty 50 company, and this is for investors who want to be moderate into their strategy. They don't want to take a high risk into the mid cap and small cap sector kind of a strategy. So this is the overall smart index. The client can choose by own depending on their appetite of your risk. So we blue chip, as you know, not top Nifty 50 company comes under large cap, largely into large cap and some part of the mid cap companies, and they all are blue chip companies. Then if we talk about the returns, definitely our returns was compared to Nifty 50s, it's higher than the over the benchmark. The overall, if you see, we have generated more than 100% plus returns in last 2 years. This is into absolute terms. So I'll show you the overall key, what is the current CAGR of these companies, and these are keep on changing all that. And then the next hot selling, one of the hot selling strategy we have is high dividend yield and capital appreciation. We focus on those companies as well who are constantly paying the dividends to their investors. And usually the investments, the average dividend yield comes around 2 to 4%, depends on the stock as well. And definitely again the universe or the investable universe is 15 to 20 companies. And largely this portfolio is into the mid cap sector. These are mixed mid cap agnostic and large cap agnostic sector. So you will find a decent return in this strategy also, because from zero to 200 we reached in last 2 years. So on an average 72% of CAGR we have delivered in under this strategy as well. Then the multinational companies, same, we focus on the MNC companies who are listed in India, and they also follow the same Atmanirbhar Bharat or PLI schemes beneficiary companies, and that's investment made using the QRP, the high quality right price philosophy. So for every kind of investors, we have a portfolio. We have 100 years dividend. This is a ETF portfolio. Who want to be very conservative into investment, we have that as such portfolio also. So it's varies on the client to client ki way they want to go for investment. Same way, both fee structures are currently available. The depend on the client. So client will directly pay to us as a fee to gain portfolio, and the investment goes into their broker account. So there are around 16 to 18 listed brokers under Smallcase. So the client will go and buy the portfolio from there, and definitely you will find the unique strategies under the Smallcase. Definitely it depends the investment behavior and investment style of the investor, so where they want to invest it. So this is the overall thing. Anything related to this, I'm open for a Q&A. Hi, my voice is audible?
Sorry. My voice probably missed. Yes, Chetan, your voice is very much audible, and it was great. I think everybody got an insight on the things
Yeah.
what what green portfolio has to offer them to their clients, and they can take it forward.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we don't because I think our IFS kind of mostly understand the points which you have been making, and that's a product, and they will like to explore more. But here are some questions which we have got in the chat, which I
Yeah.
think you can also, if you are able to see from chat. Otherwise, I'll let you know. The
Okay.
first question is in there was a comment that in last 2 years even bad company has given good absolute returns. So
Yeah.
do we need to look at broader things, kind of thing? That was the
Yeah.
question. So
Yes, sir.
you have any remark on that?
So I got sorry.
You have any remark on that? Like you would like to
The
comment?
last year was definitely a very accepting year for the market, and if we see that many of that companies like largely large cap and mid cap sectors had outperformed more than 40%. You can see a good rally in the cap, and more than 60% of the small cap. And what happened? This is what happened ki when these kind of markets happen. So largely, firstly large cap will move, then mid cap, then small cap, and it happens only for company who are good into the fundamental, or we can say that who having a very hardcore good portfolio or good business into that market. So it's a any market, even if it's a falling market or it's a bearish or bullish market, we can see a good trend into the good companies only, on the good businesses, which is into the customer centric first, plus the company is generating a volume growth of around 15 to 20% with a sales growth of 20%. And definitely these companies generate the cash flow of 20% more than that. So we look into those businesses, we look into those companies, key how they are doing it, because market just give you numbers. Key the index is trading at this level, the index is trading at this level, but what happens to those businesses which are growing it? Because it is not key their margins are shrinking because their margin expanding, generating a good operating margins. They are able to generate a return on equity more than 15%. So we usually see into these companies. If you want to go very inside into the research part, so my mate teammate Mr. Sriram from research, so he will give you the insight of the overall key how we do a deep research onto the stock portfolio.
Yes. Thank you, Chetan.
Yeah.
I'll just be very broad here. Look, a lot of companies have given absolute very high returns, 100, 300, 400%, and they're not performing on ground. And we're seeing a lot of companies like this. We have seen this in 2007. We've seen this in 1990s, and it happens all the time. But the companies that we hold are companies that are on ground. They're actually growing. they're saying that they are expanding into capex because they can't meet the current demand with the current capacity. They have low debt because any company, if you look in the past, has been gone out of business because of three reasons: poor management, high debt, or low cash, no cash. So we look at those companies with very low debt, which has good cash flows, which has an absolute superb management. One thing I don't think Chetan has mentioned this, in even the dividend yield, we do not invest in companies that are PSU companies, because it's not just giving high dividend. The company has to give high dividend plus generate capital appreciation. If you see high dividend yield, if it has generated 78% CAGR, it's because of capital appreciation. If you look at PSUs, we do not see a capital appreciation opportunity in PSUs, and hence the entire PMS or entire portfolio, we do not have any PSUs. The number one component that we look in a company is the management, how the integrity of the management, the past experience of the management, and how well they can drive the business. Even if World War III comes or COVID 4.0 comes, how well can they navigate through tough times and make this business a success? And if that business becomes success, your stock price will follow. And that has been the philosophy we've been following for the last 8 years, and we'll be going forward with the same.
I think very well said, Mr. Shyam. So I guess that point, there is one minor correction here. HQRP, which category? High, low, mid? Somebody has asked.
Sir, it's a high volatile portfolio, sir, because this is into more into the mid cap and small cap. So definitely there's a high risk, high reward
Correct.
part is there. So definitely the overall objective of selecting a stock is to buy a good companies, good growing companies. I'm not going for, as Shriram said, कि I'm not going to buy PSUs or some related company जो सिर्फ they just to serve the things only. That we definitely look into those businesses who are more aggressive for their growth and just give up capital appreciation in terms of the stock price, so which is very very important. So that's why our portfolio is too more volatile. So it might be during this recent fall you find out my portfolio draw down by 6 to 7% versus the benchmark of 8 to 9%. So that means I'm really in line to that market also, because when the market recovers, my portfolio recovers very fast, and that's a capability we have into our portfolio.
So I think that's all for the questions.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chetan. Thanks, Sriram, for being here.
Thank you, sir.
And we will now move on to our last topic. And I will also take, we have some more general questions also, if anything we have missed. And if anybody needs, we also plan to do a webinar in Hindi. So I'll just check with the gentlemen who were the present today. And आप लोग के लिए हिंदी में एक webinar next week में we will do it again यही subject के ऊपर, so that those who said pure हिंदी में नहीं मिला, कुछ नहीं समझ में आया, ठीक से समझना है, so we will
So
have
even sorry to interrupt, sir. Even I thought to explain in Hindi also, but I don't know the majority of them understand
I
English.
understand. So Chetan, we'll have one more round. So
Okay, great.
So we will have one more round and we'll call people, so that because it becomes generally difficult, because then there will always be people who will be finding it.
I really understand. I'm also comfortable in speaking in Hindi, because being a North Indian, so I'll more comfortable into explain into the Hindi part, sir.
Yeah, no issue. So
Thank you.
we moved on to our second portion of the agenda, and let me just, before I start the second portion, which is income tax return filing. So let me just explain you, the services what we have brought it to fare. I'll show you directly from the mobile. Before I take you, let me just share my screen to show.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks Chetan, thanks Shiram, so being so graciously on board.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your time, sir.
So now we move on to the last portion of the agenda, where you wanted to understand. There are few things you people had wanted to understand about that, about this product. So let me just share my screen and show you certain things where we have purchased. When you purchase a live small case from FundExpert platform, how does it look? So I'm just sharing my screen. You can have a look. So this is screen for one of our co-founder member. So I'm just taking your screen so you can see my screen. This is FundExpert app. You go to click on services, and you click on small cases. Now you're seeing different kind of small cases. So you can see here, as you can see, the small cases subscriptions amounts are mentioned. It is like this. They can be purchased for these are all per annum, but individually if you go inside, there are options of 6 months and all that. So you can see that, and then there are a subscription where it will be paid based on the percentage AUM kind of stuff. So we have all mix of all different good products, and obviously you can screen them. We have divided them in 3 portions. You have flexi cap, thematic, and quant, and you can have them. Now this is a account where I'll show you an example where once you place an order, suppose you place an order, it will appear here. The status will be initialized. Once the order is successfully completed, for example, this order is now successfully completed. So if I go to successful orders, you will be able to see all the orders which are successfully completed. You can see the date and the amount, whatever the order has been purchased and what was purchased. If you click on details, see, you can see all the list of stocks. As somebody said, can I see the list of stocks? See the amount of stocks, whatever is going to be bought, what stock was purchased, what price it was purchased. Everything will be available, so that it's available here. And these portfolios are from green portfolios only. So you can see that, high quality, right price portfolio has been purchased. And then using an invest more. So once you purchase this, it will appear in your subscription. So you have different portfolio which you purchase. If you go to investment details, it will appear here. You can see the amount you purchased. Now once you have purchased this amount, so you can see invest more option. So if you click on invest more, it takes you to that, and you can invest more on that. The investment order also will appear in, like, this invest more has been done on 26.5. Further invest more has been done on the same portfolio which was 18,000. Further another 21,000 has been added. So people can keep adding multiple values in that, and you can see what stocks were purchased next time when it was purchased. So all that information is available. Then your investment details is available here. You have options like, you can see different stats of, like, what kind of benchmark, index value, previous, what is the index value, how much they have moved and all that. And then you have action where you can invest more, manage, and exit. So you can use that to do things on the small case. If this small case had a balancing requirement, then here a rebalance will appear. Okay, so he will get, so customer can do a rebalance from here also. Okay, so if a client needed a rebalance, it will appear as an option. Rebalance, fix, repair, all these options come if there are any things which are not pending actions on the stock. So any pending action will appear here. So these are the things which you will know as a, when you have purchased a small case, how it looks. Now I'll move on to the last portion of the agenda, which is so there is one more question. What is the benefit you get as a user of as an IFA? What's your benefit for understanding for doing small case? If a client does, you get 50% of all the fees which is shared by the client. Okay. One more thing, in case I will need to ask, just check. I think the small case team has left, but I believe there was a question which I got just now, that can NRE and NRO invest in it? See, if they have Demat account, and NRE and NRO can open Demat account. This is a Demat account based transactions. No, Mr. Nagaraj, I think the answer is yes. As long as you have a Demat based account, you can do it. You should have money. You should be able to invest in stocks. If NRA and NRO customers can open Demat, they can invest in stocks. They can invest in small case. Small case, the only limitation is, do you have a Demat account? Because you are purchasing real stocks, right? So you will need Demat account, and that's why you can purchase the Demat. All these Demat account, whatever you have, you can purchase the stocks there. So you can do that. Okay, yeah. Salish, now we will be starting. This is the last portion. I'm just answering the last portion. What do you get? As an IFA, you get 50% of the subscription amount. Okay. So you get 50% of the AUM, the fees, 50% of the subscription fees, 50% of the AUM. So whatever you are seeing the AUM charges, that 50% goes to that. Now people asking, what is suddenly there? What is subscription fee? Here is a subscription fee written, 6,000 per year. 6,000 per year. Windmill capital. 6,000 per year, this one. Then balance multi-factor tactical, 4,000 per year, 5,900. And then they are a percentage also. Alpha core and satellite, 2.5% of the investment amount. 2% of the investment amount. So you are getting 50% share of that. Yes, you get it every year. It becomes a recurring. Yes, whenever client subscribes, you get it. It's every year. You are earning 50%. You don't have to open client account with Demat. In small cases, they are appearing. These are the same same small cases? Are you, please check. There are so many different small cases. The general rule is they all keep the pricing uniform. If you believe the same small case available at a lower cost, please bring our notice. It will not generally happen because there's a same fund manager. Okay, so you can show us that and we will generally speak to them and check with them, because the pricing has to be same, because it cannot be a different pricing. So unless you are seeing different small cases, see, there are different small cases available different places. We have handpicked and selected these small cases. So that's why I'm seeing Mr. Nagaraj has made it is the same price everywhere. So you go anywhere, it will not be. Jitendra, you don't have to open demat account with FundExpert. Okay, Mr. Ranjan Kumar is thinking it is 15% or 50%. So let me write in the chat. It is 50%. 50% of that amount of small case I'm talking. 50% goes to you. So you are the most major beneficiary of somebody buying a small case. Because nobody gets more than 50%. There's only 50% left. How can anybody get more than? So it is your, theoretically, you should take advantage of this and build this. So basically, if suppose example, somebody took this small case of 2.5 lakhs and is paying 2.5% per annum, you are getting 1.25% trail from this investment. Yes, share broker list. I just mentioned, na? You save that number 83107. We will send you the share broker list at the end of the program. Okay. So now we are done with the small case. Can we move it to the last portion of the agenda? Because I think everybody is waiting. Yes, IT filing discussion. So let me just start. So I will take you directly. IT filing, it's actually, you don't have to, it's pretty straightforward. So let me just take you to directly mobile app and then explain you the reasons and everything. Jitendra, where shares will be kept in your demat account? I think you, those who still have questions on small case which are not answered, you can message, WhatsApp your questions on 831079121 and we will make sure that answers are sent back to you. Okay. Because I knew there were tons of questions and we tried to make justice as many, and we exceeded time very much above the expectation, but we continue to do that because we thought it's a first program. So next program we'll try to keep it. We didn't expect, frankly speaking, we didn't expect so many questions. Okay. Yeah. So we are not taking any further questions on small case. Any further questions small case, please send it to 83107912241 because we have exceeded our time much beyond that. We move on to our next point of agenda, which is, rest assured all questions will be answered. I'll move next point of agenda, which is